All right. We're here live tonight, right here in the EFI Network studio. And we're happy to have all of you on here with us tonight. We do making an apologies on last week. We had a system to fall and it wasn't good. but certainly we was happy to get back on tonight and be straight. So we're straight tonight, and we're definitely excited about you being on here with us. And you coming in, check in for us moment. Y'all, excuse me while I fix one of these monitors. Uh, um, yeah, I'm trying to fix one of these monitors, and yeah, there we go. All right. Y'all check in. Let us know you're here. Let us know you're here. Check in the comment bar down there. I'm going to switch it over so I can see you. And we're glad to have you on tonight with us as we move clearly into the this show tonight. Tonight is going to be a good show. Tonight is going to be a perfect show. We're going to be engaging on men with ready-made family. So I hope that you had a good day. Well, I trust that you had a good day today and you are certainly moving aggressively in your life, especially in these holidays. It's almost Christmas. The year is already gone, but yet at the end, your greater days and your last shall be greater. So I want to say to most of you tonight on this line today, starting right now, look for a great blessing. Look for next year to be greater than this year. Uh, uh, the turntable to turn. So you at the mercies of God and the blessings of God. I don't want to get into church because I want to stay with this talk show tonight. Good to see you, Pam. Pam, good to see you, Miss Russell. I made a phone call to you earlier. I couldn't get you to get you prepared for tomorrow, but we're gonna try you again tomorrow if all is well, and we're gonna get you in so we can get you prepared for tomorrow. Certainly we want to get into this talk show tonight. Um, many men's Many men as I wait aggressively, waiting for uh, the co-host to get in. Pastor Stevenson, Dr. Stevens is in the back room. He's awaiting on his arrival to come in. But I want to touch bases tonight dealing with ready-made family. Most men who gets involved with the ready-made family. Ready-made family is not a joke to get involved with. And some tough things go on with ready-made family. And so tonight we're going to try to cover as much as we can because we do know in the book of Genesis, it teaches that a man should remain. A man should remain, a woman should remain, a widow if the husband is dead or if he's alive and left the house. She should remain a widow. She's still a widow if the husband is alive. She's still a widow. She's still a widow. The book says she's a widow. She's just without a husband. And so it said that she should remain virtuous. That word virtuous. Until the last child has left the nest. And then it goes on and says if a man should take on the woman and the child or the children, he is to treat the children as if it's his own bloodline. Then it turns around and teaches us on another aggressive end that we should not. Good evening, Sister Pryor. We should not entangle ourselves in another man's blood because it won't be good. So tonight we're gonna get off into some deep details on that, and we're gonna get off into some understanding when it comes to this, and we're gonna deliver. We're going to teach it from the perspectives of the Bible, and we're going to teach it on the perspectives of the earth. How many of you know it's first natural, then spiritual, and then from God, it's first, then spiritual to from spiritual to natural. So we're going to get off in touch with it. Let's get our company in the room, and let's ride them in. Pastor Boyd done made his arrivals, and Dr. Stevenson, you know how he like to play in the back room, then he come on when he jump in. Pastor Boyd, how's it going, bro?
Man, I'm good, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm trying to keep up, man. That's all I can do is keep up.
You look like you keeping up.
That's all I can do is keep up. They ain't gonna let me do nothing else but keep up. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir.
And so tonight we dealing with Pastor Boyd. Tonight we gonna deal with ready-made families.
Blended family. Conversation.
Our man ready-made family, man. I mean, yeah, this gonna be a buku one here. Cause a lot of men we get ourselves off in the things that we can't seem to shake, and then we stuck. For instance, I was involved with Dr.
There you
Stephen
go.
made his appearance. Yeah. And I grew up, let me just talk. I grew up in the house with the father figure. Yeah, Peachtree. Yeah, I grew up in the father's figure home where my mom changed my last name to Johnson, and you know, wanted to be one big unit in there. And my father figure, he was a good man. To this day, he's still a good man in my eyes. But you can tell life done took a toll on him, if that makes sense to you.
Makes sense.
And you can see changes happening and done happen to him. And now that when I growed up to be a certain age, I found out who my real father was. And when you find out who your real father is, it kind of puts you in a position where you're juggling. Now, most people, and I'm not afraid to talk about it, this is why I carry Johnson and Thomas. Johnson is my father's figure last name, which my mom married and got all our names in the household changed to be one unit Johnson. But then when I caught up with my real father, his last name is Thomas. So I had my name pulled back to Thomas. But when I thought about it, I was like, well, my father figure ain't really did nothing to me when I was on the streets and whatever else went on with me. He used to stop by and give me money and put money in my pocket. Don't you tell your mama I did this for you. You know, a good man, if that makes sense to y'all. He was a good man, man. He was a good father figure. He set standards of being a man, how to provide. He never came home and never said he didn't have no money to do it. We used to get in the backyard and pull motors together and paint cars, and he showed us how to do all that stuff. He was a great father figure. But then when you meet your father, then you find out your father wanted the relationship with you the whole entire time. And when he's in your life now, he wants you to carry his last name because he literally was robbed of his rights. So now you be like me, stuck with carrying both last name, trying to find peace and don't want to hurt one male's feeling, if that makes any type of sense to you. So tonight, that's what I'm getting at. Men who make ready-made families, and sometimes these kids grow up, they want a relationship with their father, and they know that their father figure ain't did nothing to them. However, you want to be able to spend time and carry your real father's name and get to know your brothers and sisters, because you hold on your father and half on your mother. So tonight I want to dig into that so that clarity can come to a young brother that he needs to know if you're getting involved with a ready-made family, there's obstacles there, and it's going to cause you sometimes grief, pain, suffering, deep hurt, because you ever seen a child tell you done took care of them and did this, and they tell you ain't none of my daddy. Oh my. Oh my. So let's hear it, man. What's y'all position on? I'm gonna echo back here and there because I really want to get off into this because this is a good topic tonight. Taking on a ready-made family is really not a joke. So come on, which one of y'all want to jump in?
Well, before the third come, amen, I'm gonna go gangster here. This is one of the I am currently in a blended family.
You a
And
who?
in a blended family, you talking
Oh,
about
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
and I was in a previous when you knew me, I had my wife, and then she had both of my kids. But we
Right.
divorced, and then after that, I married again on a rebound, and I that's my first introduction to a blended family.
Right.
And like you, growing up on the Cooper Road, uh,
Yeah.
I grew up down the street from my dad because my daddy stayed on David Rain Road right there at the
Right.
corner where the old hotel used to be at. I
Right.
had to
Right.
pass his house.
There's a hole in the wall.
I had to pass his house to go get my mama cigarettes at Two Manellas.
Right.
But me and my dad never had a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I grew up right there near him, we never had a relationship, and I don't think he never pursued a relationship. And I learned more about my dad when I took care of him in his latter days than I did in my lifetime. So my passion developed from that to try to be there for my kids. But nevertheless,
Mm-hmm.
I had another father. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
well, what you said, father figure, that was in the house, but
Father figure.
that's not married. Was not married to my, but was in my life majority of my life. And
Right.
him and my mom was never married, but he gave me um, he he invested uh, the type of time that my dad didn't invest, but he did it by way of working. I had to work
Right.
with him. You know what I'm saying? So I developed my work ethics and some of my
Right.
hustling ability for your family through him.
Right.
So, uh, uh, so being in this thing twice. Now, the first time I went through it, it was very challenging because me and the mother was not on the same uh,
Right.
sheet of music, and so therefore, those kids are not going to gravitate to you if the mother's influence, uh,
Right.
and then just being a child, they just don't. Because my mom married again, and my stepfather
Right.
been part of my life for the last 30 years, and I love him to death. I mean, he's awesome, but I was an adult by the time he came into the picture.
Right.
So I didn't warm up to him right away, but he didn't force no relationship either. You know, he let it me to come on to my own pace. So I know
Right.
what it is to be in that position personally coming in. And
Right.
also I did that with my sons now. And me and my wife do not
Right.
refer to our kids as stepkids. We respond to them, and we
Right.
say bonus kids. We don't say stepkids.
Uh-huh.
So I know for a fact, and I'm gonna move off of this. I know from my first experience is that right off the back, I was rejected by his mother. by her daughter.
Hmm.
She had some daddy issues and stuff prior to me. So a lot of stuff pre-existed that I
I
came
want
in
to show
on
you how that.
that that I didn't that I would have never recovered from and I would have never been able to fix. So there was some
Right,
pre-existing situations where there was no I could not definitely because the damage has already been done. You know.
right,
Now only one good thing came out of that relationship is uh, one of her sons' father. Me and him are cool
right,
today. And when I first came in, I had
right,
to talk. I didn't tell him. I didn't tell her to talk to him. I said I want to talk to her. And me
right,
and him had a straight up conversation, and I told him what my stance was, what my position was, And I told him I'm not come to change anything. I respect the fact you in your son's life, and we kind of like um, work together in that aspect,
right,
raising his
right,
son.
right,
So,
right,
and even when we had a real serious issue, when I jumped on him for being disrespectful, I knew his father took it hard because his son had bruises on it. But you know what?
right.
I went to that man straight up, and I humbled myself and
Yep.
I apologized to him, and I told him
Uh-huh.
in your right to say whatever you got to say. I'm not gonna buck
Right,
you on it because I know if that was my son, I know how I would feel.
right,
So
right,
so we was able to talk about that, and I told him, I said, you know what? Since we talked about this, the next time there's an incident, then when you get that call from me, I may expect you to handle that. You know,
that's
in
it,
that because he was
that's
in.
it.
So we he cut my hair. We cool today, from that. But that
Right,
was the only positive thing that came out. So
right,
but I think if you're going in there trying to make one of the biggest mistakes I made, and then I'm gonna let the third come, is coming in trying to establish my system and my beliefs
right,
into that
right,
family, into with kids that did not know me like that.
right.
I can do that for my kids, but I could not
Oh,
do
that.
that for her kids. And I think any man
Mm-hmm.
that goes in there trying to establish his belief system, knowing that you're going into a broken system and knowing you're going into a situation that's got some things
That right
pre,
there.
then I just feel that you really, you're wrong in the sense of trying to enforce your will on them. Especially now, if you raised them, they already brought up in your system. But I'm talking about
Right,
adolescent stage kids and stuff like that. So,
right.
but this is a common issue. This is not something strange to black families. You know,
Right,
as my brother said, ethnicity. We have known this for years. And I told my wife one time we were having a discussion about this, and I looked at her and I told her, because she was raised by her mom and her dad, and I told her,
right,
you talk, you share when you talk about that, and you talk about situation. I said you share that as if that's the norm, and I told her, I
mm-hmm.
said that's really abnormal for our ethnicity. I said
Right,
with the people we talk to, how many folks that we know
right.
that grew up with both their parents in the house?
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? So I had to get her to see that that's abnormal. So a lot of things that you talk about, most of us can't relate to. I can't relate to
That's true.
that type of relationship you had with your dad. You know,
This is true.
I don't have that history. I respect
Uh-huh.
it, but I just can't connect to it. I can't. Uh,
Right,
that's something that I can't really talk about. So
right.
with that being said, that's the difference. But there are some great challenges having a blended
Yeah,
family
man.
and bringing the family in. But uh,
Yeah, man.
necessary, you sign up for it when you said I do, and I feel
Yes,
sorry
sir.
for me. And if you didn't do
Hello,
your
Mr.
research,
President.
You know, one thing I did, Doc, and I'm gonna let Doug come, is this. When I got married, my wife, I didn't go in there. I watch how she managed her kids. I watch how she disciplined. I watch how what they could get away with and what they couldn't get away with. So I didn't go, I went very observant, and I never got involved with the issues that she had. Even with one of our sons, man, that joker gave us the blues. I mean, he introduced stuff I ain't never. He stole my car. He did some stuff, man. He was straight. I mean, compared to the boat, man, I wasn't prepared for that, man. I was like, oh my God. But man, we had a situation, and man, and you know, I sat down and I talked to him, and I had a one-on-one.
Boy, go be boy.
And man, and I told him, man, I said, man, I rather my preference is not fight you, but fight with you. And I said,
right. I'm with you. We on this thing together.
I'm gonna make sure you have a fair fight. I'm not gonna get in your fight, but I'm gonna have. I'm gonna make sure you have a fair fight. And me and that young man is so close, man. That's my heart, man. He's my heart. I mean, man. Whenever we have our little father-son kind of type conversation, man, he's in my life, and I love him for that. Man. I got mad. They got mad respect for me, but I have a great responsibility to maintain that. You know. You know. So that's but that's my position on it. I can't talk about no child talking about you ain't my daddy and all that. I did go through that. Now, I understand that was the second man that I wasn't their daddy. I'm gonna never be their daddy. You know what I'm saying? But I had to respect that in the sense that my thing and me and my wife have one common rule. You ain't got to like her, but you will respect her. Bottom line.
You go. Bottom line.
That is
it ain't for you. She ain't for you to like. It's for me to like.
So that's what get in the throat. The disrespect to the other. That's non-tolerance with that. And so
that's it.
So we definitely we go through our challenges with that principle.
That's it.
And sometimes we're even being ostracized for standing on that principle. But that has nothing to do with, because sometimes they think we should be on their side when there's an issue. You know, they want us to side with them.
This is true.
And it's not about siding with nobody. It's about standing for what's right. And that's my wife. So
that's it.
You know, so at the end of the day, you know, that
we won, baby. No matter what, we got to be one.
That's how that's gonna be. You know,
that's how that's gonna be. Now,
you know, now if she do something that I don't agree with and approve, that's handled between me and her.
Me and her, and behind the doors. There ain't no public.
That ain't no public. With my child first, and then go to her. No, that him. You know. Yes, so, and I let her correct if she feel the need to correct. She correct that on her own, not me going in there telling her, well, she ain't gonna do this no more. Because a lot of this mess is created. This hostility, and in the family, especially in the blended family, is created by the parents. Now, children already got their issues already, but the escalation of that is those two adults. All right, I'm done. I'm backing out.
Listen at this before Dr. Stevie jump in. You that have Roku TV, we are on your Roku TV, your Fires TV, and your Apple TV. They are branding our channel to be on your local network and Comcast and DirecTV. We're probably right at about 87 days from being branded. And if you would like to be a part of this television station while it's moving, you might want to get in this brand popper right now. You might want to get in it right now. So we're going to back. I just want you to know that you got Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. We are on your living room wall right now and on your TV. Soon we'll be in absent from Facebook and be directly on TV. All right, Dr. Steve, come on, jump in here. Watch that. Watch the soft tone. Doc, watch the soft tone come on.
I'm just listening, man. I'm not saying much. I'm taking it all in, trying to absorb. This is a very weighty issue, and
Yeah.
it can be a touchy subject.
Uh-huh.
It can be a touchy subject,
Uh-huh.
whereby it will expose a different type of emotional construct and
Right.
the type of framework we have. Because when you start to deal with the origin, and there's no way for humanity within its human existence to identify origin without identifying parents.
There you go.
Because before the children are given a system, he gives us a nature, and with that nature comes the responsibility and the authority to implement said system. Because sometimes the nature won't yield to the system.
Right.
Sometimes that's the problem. The nature won't yield to the system, because because you nurture and because you care, because you're concerned, there's a system, an order with structure. But since that nature is not shared,
Right.
and sometimes because that is not a shared nature, you're going to be met with contention.
Every time.
And so my request to my brothers: operate in the highest form of ice cream discipline, because ice cream discipline will yield its greatest rewards.
Well, identify ice cream.
Your erotic enjoyment. Minimize, understand the importance of how that is to be disciplined. And I'm gonna be, and let me tell you, bro, because the moment the act took place, and it was an enjoyable act for both parties, whatever transpires as it relates to the interaction outside of the erotic enjoyment, when you have to express mobility, then there's going to be a problem. And if there's ever a problem, it's you are going to be looked at uncomfortable, because you're the one that was asking for the ice cream. With asking for the ice cream, and now here is where shared responsibility, shared authority, shared authority. He asked for the ice cream. Yeah. Now she yield to the request.
That's it.
She yield to the request. She doesn't yield to every request. She yield to your request.
Right.
One of the highest forms of honor, for a man to give is himself. One of the highest forms of honor that a woman can give a man is a child. That was a form of honor. And I think when we mismanage ice cream, it doesn't change the byproduct. It didn't change the byproduct with David. It didn't change the byproduct with kingdoms being divided because of enter turmoil within the family. So
Right.
brother, maintain your discipline. Because if anything, please maintain your discipline. Please maintain your discipline. You watch this. You see it as brothers are so captivated by pleasure. So captivated by pleasure. That doesn't mean that she's going to be captivated by pleasure.
Right.
She may identify your pleasure as an opportunity to express power. You want to drown in pleasure. So the catering that you give, it's not even because you care about her. It's because you're catering to pleasure. And she knows that she is the key to said pleasure. It's quite simple. It's quite simple. But that doesn't mean that her big component is going to be pleasure. Hers may be power. And I think some men don't understand what they possess when they operate at the highest level of their masculinity. And it's so and sometimes we get so bogged down in just providing and protecting. We get so bogged down in providing and protecting. Where your money? Where your money? Where your money? Where your money? We got bogged down in that. But I don't want to drip too far. But in terms of stepfathers, say, man, I gotta tip my hat, because we hear the great stories, but yeah, I didn't see some horror stories. Now, everyone that has great success stories, thank God for you, and salute. And I'm glad that I don't have to. I'm not. That is not my subjective experience. But this is the good news of the gospel. Over 40% of the Bible was written, and it was not based upon the experience of said person.
That's true.
That's called the Apostle Paul. He don't have a wife. Yeah. He don't have any biological children. He didn't have one wife, no biological children, no outside babies, no friends, no benefits, no situationships. And yet he wrote over 45% of the New Testament as it relates to the movement and the design of the church. So this is not my experience. But I can bear the burden when I've seen brothers who are stepfathers and they get stepped on. And I know we can say they should have known, they should have seen this, they should have done this. And I think within this modern culture, when it becomes more of I'm going to step on him, I'm going to see what can I get out of him. Oh yeah, I didn't found me someone that I can take advantage of. I have found me someone that I can diminish, and I can dictate his mobility. I can dictate his function.
Take your anger out on.
Yeah, and he will be my personalized utility. And all I gotta do every now and then is give him a little bowl of ice cream, give him a nice bowl of ice cream, and pat him on the head and say he's a good guy.
Right.
That's it. Wow. That's it. Now, I've seen some brothers that were stepfathers crying. Hey, talking about, hey man, let me get some. I'll work a little later.
Let me stay. I give you the pizza back.
That was me. I work here for all the time. You ain't got to.
And this is my thing. And some people would say, oh, Stephen's got a problem. No, my thing is, why cannot we say to that young lady, before you say that man is just too nice and take advantage of him, how about be nice to the guy that's being nice to you? Be nice to the guy that's being nice to you. I've seen.
Yeah.
I wish I've seen many step. I've seen a lot of stepdads treated bad, treated
Yeah.
bad, and it is a
That's true.
major responsibility. It's a major
Now,
responsibility because
let me ask you this here.
I don't think people take into account the various things that we have to calculate when we plug our life into her family. When we would suggest that the order according to God's design is that she plugs her life into mine. She plugs her life into
Uh-huh.
me. And from that
Right.
plug comes our nature.
Life
It
comes
comes
life.
our
Yeah.
nature. You know,
Yeah. Life.
because it's just certain characteristics that becomes more noticeable when you know, like, you know what I did. That's boy, that boy act just like me. That God, dog. That little joker act, yeah, he act just like me. He sounds just,
Yeah, boy.
and so that nature is going to come out, and the connection of that nature is still going to want to attach itself to the biology, to the
Right.
biology, to just it's. I still gotta identify this because that's still a part of me.
Right.
I can't blow it off.
Right.
That's a part of me. And so the man who
Right.
has sacrificed his finances, he
Right.
sacrificed his finances. We're not going to even add the emotional labor. Now he's going.
Woo.
Now he's
It's
now
all
what
bad
is
now.
what is left for him? What is left for him? Where is the honor in it? Because the stepdad is going to have to do twice as much.
That's
You
true.
got to do twice as much.
Because he's trying to prove himself in the situation there.
He got
It's kind
now.
of
Why now?
Now,
Now,
I think that's the mistake he made. Because if you go in there trying to prove yourself, because
yeah.
the thing is, you may not obtain that approval no matter what you do.
That's true.
all right.
That's right.
Now,
Back
can
down
I
and
deal
let
with
it
this
come.
word approval for
Right.
just a moment? Can I deal with this word approval? Let's not even get with the kids. There's some men don't know what it's like to be desired by a lady, so they lean in with their wallets in order to gain her approval. They're waiting on her approval.
That's where you
So
go wrong at.
so he shows that, listen, I can provide. I got money. And yes, money can answer all things. I get that. I'm not minimizing that. But I am dealing with the construct that approval, there are some men that are still waiting on her approval. Waiting on her approval. I'm
Not
waiting.
JJ approval.
You hold up. How can we even add the kids' approval when you're waiting on her approval? We haven't even brought the kids in. Some brothers gotta spend X amount of money to prove that you like her. And if you don't spend X amount of money, it's because you broke and you're a bum. And you ain't got no money and you cheat. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you serious? So we before we even get to having a implementing my life and becoming a stepfather, we got to deal with the two people that first interacted.
Before we can add all the cosmetics to it, we all got to be on one page first.
Now we want to make sure that the interaction is not okay. Let me see if he meets my approval. How much money you got?
Yeah.
How much money you got? What kind of car you drive? How many times? Well, yes, you do this. How long you been doing that? Where do you live over here? Do you live in a house? You got an apartment? You got a condo? You got this? Well,
I live in my shoe.
How many kids? And guess what? It sounds comical because there's so much reality in this.
This is true.
That's why
This
it's
is
comical,
true.
because there's a
This
lot
is
of
true.
reality in it. And so,
Listen at this. Listen at this. Not to cut you off.
let's go.
Also, with dealing with this, the parents needs to know who comes first. Now, this is a sensitive part of this subject, because a lot of times they'll tell you, "My child come first," and that's a very poor choice for any parent to say to someone that they're dating or involved with, that your child come first. At
Well,
the end of the day, the child gonna grow up and go on his way. It's
what?
going to mature.
Well,
It's going to leave us. It's going to leave you sitting there alone. Now, if a man loves a woman, they gonna put the child first together, not separately.
well,
I see y'all itching. I'm gonna get up off this line in just a second. If a man loves a woman, I ain't say like a woman. I said love a woman. He would take the necessary thing that her heart is connected to and get involved where her heart lies at, and then move very gentle, very easy, and cautious until he can land her heart in a comfort place. Because you know a woman will go to the wolves and fight off a whole batch of wolves for one child that belong to her. So with that being said, come on, what do you say? I see you itchy. Come on, get it out. Get it out.
Hey, that all sounds good. And what woman are we talking about? What generation of woman?
We're talking about this now generation.
We talking about the millennial,
they got it from the older generation before the end of the 60th generation. That's where these younger ladies got it from. The moms that's in their mid-50s and 60s and that age there, they that's what they taught. Because I heard
let me ask you this.
Come first, you know.
Let me ask you this: if something was trying to attack you, and you had to cover your body, what would be one of the first things you cover?
Well, you asked me that personally?
I'm gonna ask, I'm asking you.
Okay, the first thing I will cover is my upper body. That'd be the first thing I cover.
Okay. Well, the first, I don't know.
I know it's supposed to be the head, but I'm saying I'm gonna cover my upper body.
With me, I'm gonna cover my head. Because if I got brain damage, I have no vision. I got brain damage.
With my upper strength, I can block it from coming up here.
I'm saying me.
Okay, you. All right.
I'm talking about me. I want this covered. And the reason being, if we are assigned to cover, why not ensure what he's covering? I can't cover you if you are uncovered.
This is true.
I can't cover you. So we have so many people that are not, that their chaos is not anchored anywhere.
Right.
It's unbridled chaos.
Uh-huh.
It's unbridled chaos in the name of being liberal and free.
Nah.
But I'm going back to it, that mom and that dad, those are very sensitive areas, because everybody can't deal with it. That's why I try not to share anything that constitutes or identifies my personal experience, because my personal experience is different. Everybody's personal experience is different. So
Absolutely.
so I don't want,
Right.
but that's for that reason, I don't want my scope to be limited to only
Right.
my experience.
Right.
If my scope is limited to my experience, then I don't know what empathy is. I don't know what it means to be empathetic. I don't know. I would disregard that stepfather that walked in, and you know the lady who he married was having an erotic moment, an erotic session when he came in, when he walked in, and he was raising her 3 kids.
Right.
He was raising her 3 kids. Now I know.
Right.
I get it. I think I get it. It was something he did. He had to have done something. That's about right. I get it.
Now you're gonna be messy.
I get it. I gotta say it because you know it's going to come out. So let me just make sure. Let me just make sure that it was still his fault. I got it. But even watch this. Even though it's his fault, should someone be concerned about the hurt that he's experiencing?
Right.
And because I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna be real with you. I know I've been a man for a minute, and I'm not talking about weeping and wailing and crying and bawling, but at least say, "Oh man, bro, it happens to the best."
Got PTSD.
But watch this. Men laugh at that.
Yeah.
Men laugh at that. Women take advantage of that. So he goes into that same cycle of not identifying how to be empowered, because just like women do a lot of complaining on various things that we do, there are some women that do take advantage of men. I mean, the Samson and Delilah story, I did not make it up. Was Samson wrong? Yes, that's what happened to him. Got it. But there are situations where men are being taken advantage of.
Yeah, but you also got your layers too.
Yeah. Now dig this. Now here he goes. It's hard to embrace because men can never be accepted as someone who has been victimized. It don't look good on us. We supposed to know. We are supposed to know. And I take that and I embrace that because that is a reality. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about men from a generalized standpoint. From a generalized standpoint, we have to know that. We have to know that she can experience the same thing, but society will respond to her with a different type of sympathy. And this is how I know that.
Man,
let me tell you how I know that. I've been watching it because I write and watch. The DNA courts. A young lady had said that this was this man's child. Lo and behold, that 5-year-old child was not his child, even though he knew it wasn't. He in his heart, he knew it wasn't. So he's been taking care of this child all this time. Not on child support, but just raising his child all this time. Why is it she passed out? Why you passing out?
Wait a minute. Stop, Dr. Steve. Wait a minute. No, she passed out for?
I don't know. She was devastated by her own actions.
Maybe one of the ladies
that
on here
tripped
can
me
tell
out.
us why. Look here. Wait, maybe one of these ladies on here can tell her
why
hold
did
up. That young
I'm not
lady
making it. Hey, listen. This man.
Why did they fight? One of these ladies can tell us.
This man had just heard. This man just heard that the child that he thought was his for 5 years is not his. He was not on child support. They had a problem in their relationship, and they spent some time apart. Then they reconvened, and in the midst of that, there was always a question as to whether or not this was his child. When the letter came back that man was not the father, she passed out. Now, This man stood tall, stood firm, and I know it hurt, but she passed out. And the judge and everyone said, well, y'all go help her up, let her know. And they was like, listen, you're not in this alone. I'm saying to myself, this man just gave 5 years of his finances, 5 years of his energy, 5 years of his livelihood, 5 years of his life, thinking that the child was his. But then no one came over to the guy and said, say, man, you all right, bro?
Yeah. We're going to get you your money back. We'll get you your money back.
No. That's dead. That ain't happening. But that ain't happening. That money gone.
Lord,
that money gone. See, if we would, man, y'all gonna make me go there. Boy, I'm sure enough not gonna open that bag. I believe that if the child is not the man's, I believe he's owed a refund. If he can pay back child,
I believe that wholeheartedly.
If he can pay back child support, he should be refunded. They should refund his money.
What you mean? Now,
hold on.
Come on now, y'all.
No. What? No, we talking about equality.
You had him on child support wrongly.
No, you just sowed your seed. That's all you did. You sowed your seed.
I did what?
You sowed your seed. Amen.
No. I got robbed of a seed. I ain't sold nothing. I got robbed of a seed.
Because bottom line is, whether it was yours or not, you did what you did because that was you. Nobody.
No, it was a court order. Watch this. That's a court order now, Doc. Come on.
Right.
It was a court order.
Understand this. I understand that. That's court order. Now, I guess I jumped the gun. All right. Yeah, I think that man should be real. Let me put it like this. Now, I got y'all on that because I totally agree with you, Dr. Stevenson, on this very true fact. No one, but that's just our culture. No one see the need to be there for the man when he has been violated. True. And when he has been damaged. And we leave a lot of damaged men on the field of life trying to survive. And we spend a lot of energy and resources and comfort and support system for the females that have been put in those situations. I totally agree.
True. Now, can I ask this?
Now, when I come to the court order thing, now, and that's some real stuff because there are men paying child support for a child that is not theirs.
That's true. Ain't never been put on nothing like that.
So when the courts are involved, yeah, I think that ought to be some legal redemption for men who have been put in situations like that upon their choice. That they should be some kind of justice that will go to not say pay them back, but necessarily put them on child support and make money back. I mean, put them on that, make them reimburse that money because it's the same way where it happened. If they find out you misuse those funds, government funds, they make you pay that money back.
Correct.
You know.
That's right.
So yeah, I agree. When there's a situation and that man did everything he could to deal with the situation, and the court, because it was court ordered that he didn't have a leg to stand on, then I totally agree. I think that ought to be some type of what they call it, redemption or something to that man for the time and the energy and all the things that he saw.
With the interest stuff.
Let's say this. Let's say we go based upon the first position. The first position being
3-minute marks, man. Go ahead and keep talking. We got 3
okay.
minutes.
Let's say for the sake of this last presentation that listen, he should not be compensated on any level because he was there. He just didn't take them. He just didn't receive the baby, but he was there on the scene. So if you're going to say he still should have to pay because he was there on the scene, then are we implying that the act itself should simply be transactional?
That's what they say.
Well, look down here at the bottom of the stream. We got Miss Russell. He said the $50,000 question. She knew she was in for a rude awakening. In other words, she simply just said, that woman know who child it is and who child it is not. Women know who the father is, but they want to choose.
Not no more, Doc.
Just
like
we try to replace the children now. Yeah, you're pregnant by no good man.
They doing
things know that he's a good man. They'll take him and use him to provide for him, knowing that it ain't none of his child.
Look at him. They doing what we were doing back in the day. There was one in the evening, one in the morning, and one at night.
So you telling me they're hold on, I'm lost. So you telling me that they're acting like the men that they most despise? I know that cannot be our women. I know that cannot be the women of the women who are great.
Don't let Paul get you in that arena.
I'm just saying, no. Hey, no. I already see it. Like, hold on. Oh, no. That's not. They can't be happening. They are not excited about being the men that they despise. No.
They want the boy who could provide and take good care of. They want to make the mess, but they always want us to clean
No. Hey, my young sisters, hey, be nice to those nice guys. Be nice to the nice guys.
No, respect those nice guys.
Hey, well, I'm trying not to push it too far. I got to start somewhere. We got to start somewhere. Start with good morning to you, too. Don't look at it like, thank you, listen there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's our time for the night. Come back and be with us on Thursday night at 8 o'clock. And we're going to ride till we probably usually out about 9:30. Starting at 8, usually out by 9:30 or not. We'll catch you on the flip side next Monday. But tonight is all the time. Thank you for watching. And we salute you. We salute you all the way. We salute you. We catch up with you later. We love y'all. Stay tuned. Stay close.